It's Disenchanted with Charis on the Pimpy K Multiverse Network.
All right. Welcome to the second episode of Disenchanted with Charis. I am your host, Charis, as always, joined by my lovely producer, Mr. Pimpy K. Today on this show, I've got a couple fun little facts for you. We're going to get into the Panama Papers a little bit later. We're also going to get into the protests in D.C. And depending on where we are on time, I might even get political for you. Want to start out by giving a huge shout out to a couple of my Welsh viewers. I know I promised you Jello shot recipes, and I'll be posting those on Facebook for your enjoyment. So here's the thing, and I really hate to give this guy any more airtime than he already gets, but as it relates to the incident at Ohio University where several students wrote Trump 2016 and build the wall on a what's supposed to be a freedom of speech board. Certain students actually came up and said that they felt personally victimized by the message. One student said that she shouldn't be made to feel like she was being threatened on campus. Makes sense. The president of this college, as a result, has decided that he wants to start making freshmen take cultural sensitivity training as part of freshman orientation. Right. What's going to happen when you get out in the real world and someone says something to you really offensive? Just a question. While we're being offensive, porn sites, in response to the bathroom law that was passed in North Carolina, have started denying users with IP addresses from North Carolina as part of a protest. It was actually, HamsterX.com has come out and said...
I have to correct you there. I believe it is actually X-Hamster. What?
Trust a man to know the right answer to that question.
Don't be fucking getting them porn URLs all fucked up. I take that offensive.
Right, okay. So they have started denying traffic from North Carolina in protest. You're in the porn industry. I seriously doubt it's going to make much of a difference. They'll just go to other websites.
Mm-hmm.
Something I find really interesting, and it's been publicized, but not quite to the extent that I think is perhaps necessary, is the Panama Papers.
Well, so are we moving on from the porn conversation?
We are moving on from the porn conversation. It was just a little fun fact.
Well, the only reason I ask is because that's probably been the coolest topic you've had since you started this show. I'm just saying.
The fact that porn websites are denying access
to people. You had me
at
porn. Just putting that out there.
You're such a pig.
Go ahead and talk about your Panama Papers.
I love you, but you're such a pig.
Whatever. Porn's awesome.
All right. As soon as they start making stuff I want to watch, I'll be about it.
I'm sure there's like some kind of weird circus Latino porn website that caters just to your flavor.
Oh, you are cruising for it.
Latinos on trapezes or something. Sorry, go ahead.
You know, if this is the kind of help the network's going to give me, I mean, I don't know what else. I really don't.
I am your show, Charis.
You just push buttons.
All right, then that's all I'm going to do for the rest of the show is push buttons.
I tell you what, we did almost have a crisis earlier. You thought you were going to have to leave, and I was afraid I might have to push my own buttons. That was actually kind of a scary thought.
Yeah, that wouldn't have went over very well.
Oh, no, that would have been an absolute train wreck. So this is the deal with the whole, why this is such an issue. What has happened at world leaders who are supposed to be in control of the world economy have all been caught up with shell corporations down in Panama. And the argument, and although having foreign bank accounts is in and of itself not a crime, there's many people suggesting that this was actually used as a way to avoid taxes. The Prime Minister of Iceland has been forced to step down as a result because he had shell corporations and accounts in Panama. Allegedly, there are several high-ranking American authorities that are also involved. The president of Argentina, several members of the House of Commons over in the UK Prime Minister.
Everybody knew the president of Argentina was a crackpot. I mean, isn't that the guy? And stop me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the dude that forced like millions of women to get sterilized if they weren't of a certain financial background?
I don't want to say yes or no because I'm not 100%. And at any rate, there's an organization. I want to say it's called the Organization for Economic Cooperation, and the whole goal of this organization is to essentially monitor the world economy. Clearly, they failed. They tried to reach an agreement in 2014 that would effectively, all the countries involved with this organization would sign a document stating, hey, if we have to pursue someone we believe is doing something illegal, money laundering, tax evasion, etc., you will agree to help us catch them. You will not hide them, shelter them, or say we can't have that information. What's interesting is that Panama and the U.S., of all these industrialized nations, are the only people that didn't sign it. They're the only two that said, no, you're screwed.
Panama and who?
Panama and the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Well, the U.S. doesn't get involved with shit like that because we're the biggest crooks of them all.
And it's funny you say that because I did some digging on this because I think this is interesting. And there are 3 states in this country, Delaware, Nevada, and Wyoming. Nevada, we should have known. The whole state. I mean, Vegas was founded for money laundering. I mean, let's just face the fact. They actually have laws that effectively protect criminals. You can actually start companies in those states, not use your real identity, and what you pay is what they call a nominee. It is effectively a fee that allows you to hide assets. The only real issue with this, and most people it really doesn't affect. I mean, if you're getting divorced and you have a lot of assets you want to protect, that's really the only way it's going to affect the average person.
Asset.
But Jesus. One of the biggest reasons I bring this up is I can't focus.
Get it together, Charis.
I know, get it together. Figure out what you're doing. I brought this issue up with a friend of mine, and they're like, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anyone. Well, here's the problem. It actually does. It affects a lot. In fact, the president of Syria, along with his cousin and best and close friend, Rami, and I'm going to slaughter this, Makalhoff. Makhoff. It's Arabic. I don't speak Arabic. I apologize in advance. Because of the shell companies that he was able to set up, he was able to control 60% of Syria's entire economy. He held either partial or total monopolies on industries like real estate, import-export, construction, oil, duty-free. I mean, just about everything he basically held a stranglehold on. And this actually came up in 2011. The people of Syria had figured out, we're getting screwed. We're being robbed. And they actually protested him outside of his businesses.
Well, that amongst other things threw him into full civil war.
Well, yeah, but the other side of that too is they're also stating there's been, of course, there's investigations and everything else going on, but they're also saying that the president of Syria was actually using his cousin to launder his money as well.
Of course,
that he had ill-begotten gains, that he was having his cousin.
When you live in one of those countries where if somebody doesn't like what you're doing, you just get rid of them. It makes it really easy to do stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. But the thing of it is, and this is the other side, I hear people bring this.
You tell me I chop off your hand.
Pretty much.
I just made him sound like Western African or something. All right. My bad.
God, way to be a racist pig.
No, that wasn't No. First of all, doing an impression of another language is not by any means racist. There was no racial implication in any of that.
Still slightly insulting.
Sensitive ass bitch.
As I sit here and pride myself on not being PC.
Coming from the same, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm glad you beat yourself up on that.
Aw. And here's the thing.
Are we done with Rami, or are we leaving Rami up?
No, you can take Rami away. It's a shame no one will actually ever say that to him.
Hell, well, somebody will, but I mean, it's going to be while he's getting a noose wrapped around his head or a rock thrown at his nugget.
Likely. Now, here's where I get to the fun part about this story. For those of you who know me, you know that I love me some Edward Snowden. Despite the fact that many would consider him a criminal.
Bullshit. Great American hero.
I do. I don't necessarily agree with everything he did and the way he went about it. That being said, I do think that one day people are going to look back at him and go, he did the right thing.
I mean, how the fuck? You know, my thing is, I mean, let's be honest about all of this, and this is no bullshit. This is true to life shit right here. What is the point of coming up with the whistleblowing laws if you're still going to arrest people for blowing whistles?
Well,
I understand. Now, hear me out. Now, I completely understand the difference between giving away state secrets and just being a regular whistleblower. And he might have walked the line and even crossed it a time or two. But let's be honest. Even though he crossed the line, he was giving up information that us, the people, should definitely have access to that we weren't given, which makes the federal government the criminal here and him pure and simple a whistleblower. And listen, there's a lot of guys, specifically guys in the military, conservative people, that say, no, he's a criminal, he shouldn't have done it, blah, blah, blah. Well, I promise you, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to start to see changes and reforms based on the information that he made available to us.
Well, and the thing that's very interesting is that, and I say Edward Snowden is old news. There's actually a lot of this show tonight that I don't want to say he predicted, but that you could tie back to him. And it's unfortunate that I don't think enough people actually listened to his message and really took him seriously. I actually went back when I first heard about it. And of course I had the initial knee-jerk reaction of, well, bury him under Guantanamo. But then I started looking at what he actually did. What he really did was give the people the information that they really needed to know.
The information that they should have had.
The technology that the NSA was using was never meant to be used against the American people, and that's exactly what was happening.
I mean, the Patriot Act kind of skewed that, though, didn't it?
It did, and it was a gray area. But see, what Edward Snowden had actually said as well, that they were intercepting people's metadata. They were intercepting text messages, emails, and that sort of thing. And he did say there were numerous occasions where certain images of people, and I'll let you use your imaginations, were intercepted, and they were shared.
Oh, of course they were.
They were shared, and
it's the same with like you know what I do for a living. I'm an IT guy, you know, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to take personal work when I was more of a PC tech. And when I would get people's computers and, you know, I was cleaning up viruses, things this nature, I would have to go through their personal files because that's typically where these things attach. They usually go into your common library folders, like your documents, pictures, videos, blah, 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 audio or music or whatever. And sometimes I would see these people in images that were a little unsavory, you know,
right?
And I didn't want to see. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there was a time or two where I saw some that were so bizarre and weird that I saved that shit and I showed people. I'm not gonna lie to you,
right?
That's the nature of the beast. When we the people allowed them that access, we just did. I mean, you know, there's a way to take it back.
But that's part of the issue that I have with millennials and even my generation.
You are a millennial.
Well, I am, but I'm talking to the millennials that came about 4 to 5 years after me.
Oh, okay.
Because it's gotten worse. Because, I mean, I remember the internet coming in. I remember AOL Messenger and things like that. But those were things that I was, 9, 10, 12 years old. The generation, the people born 4 or 5 years after me, they don't remember life pre-social media, pre-cell phones. I still remember dial-up internet. I actually had to explain the concept of dial-up internet to someone the other day. God, did I feel old.
You're really not even old enough to remember the challenges of dial-up.
I remember.
If you remember, we're talking about like 56K. Try going back to like 14.4 where it was when I was doing that shit. Prodigy and AOL were pretty much the only thing out there.
But the thing is, we have become so used to social media and not having private lives and putting everything on display. The problem with that is that no one is questioning when it's happening for all the wrong reasons. When you are not consenting to your data being shared.
Well, no, they've dumbed us down to the point where the majority of us don't give a fuck anymore. As long as they can watch the Kardashians and Monday Night Football, they don't give a fuck about anything else.
I don't even think it's about that. I think we are so distracted. I mean...
Well, that's the point. Shows like things like that, sports,
but look at
TV,
if you watch the media right now, of course it's all about the election, 24/7, every network. Meanwhile,
which is another dog and pony show, right?
It really is to a degree. You've also got, but then you've got things like the Panama Papers, which there's a handful of people effectively controlling the entire world economy. Oh, but we're not going to talk about that because someone might ask a question or two, and God forbid we have a well-informed, educated populace. The way that you control people and the way that you control thought is by keeping them dumb.
Thought.
I did add a little emphasis on that word, not necessarily for any particular reason. But the way that you control people, keep them stupid, keep them poor. And that is exactly what's taking place. But I bring Edward Snowden up again. You know, this is, okay, all my people who are such big Hillary supporters, I know there are so many of you out there, note sarcasm. The same laws that they are saying Snowden was in violation of are actually the same laws that they're using to pursue the whole Clinton email scandal. Personally, I don't think they will ever indict her. I don't. She's a Clinton. She's a presidential nominee. I don't think it's really ever going to come to that. However, I was reading recently that...
Can I cut you off for 2 seconds?
Yes.
I'm going to try this, and only because I switched over and I looked at a couple things. Let's see if it'll allow me to bring this up real quick. Give me 2 seconds. There it is. I wanted to bring this up because I noticed it and I thought it was really funny. Your homeboy Blake says that you look like a Smurfette. I just wanted to bring that up quickly.
Oh, thank you, Blake. It's nice to see your love and affection. Well, good. Then this one's for you because I know that you're such a Hillary fan. I know you've got her bumper sticker on your car right now. It is actually a real possibility that she will be indicted for Benghazi.
Oh, Smurfette looking ass.
For the Benghazi scandal. And wouldn't you know it? It was actually Al Jazeera that brought that up, that they're saying, no, this is a real threat. That is why her campaign is suffering, because she really is being investigated. Mm-hmm. They are doing legitimate, and the thing of it is, they've actually shut Obama out of it. It's not that Obama doesn't want to know. They've shut him out for obvious reasons. Those two are friends. Those two have vested interest in one another. So I actually think that's kind of cool. I don't particularly like the woman anyway. I don't think she's her husband. I don't think she would do this country any good, and I don't think she gives a shit about the people. I think her whole campaign is based upon her ego and her, so she can say she was the first female president. Look, I'm a card-carrying member of the Women's Liberation Front. I would love to see a female president in my lifetime, just not that one. She spent the last 20, and I can tell you this, if she's elected, me and Pimpy K are going to prison for a very long time.
Speak for yourself.
We are going down.
Listen, don't fucking get me indicted in your stupid, crazy, out of this world bullshit, because I've let you know this plenty of times. I've let politics go. I follow the George Carlin shit, you know what I'm saying? If your vote actually counted, they wouldn't let you do it. And I really ceased to give a fuck, because like I said, it's all a dog and pony show. It's just there to distract you and make you think that you actually matter and that you can actually do something. It's the bottom line is this, pure and simple. This isn't a democracy, it's a corporation. And although there is a sector of the corporate world that does run in a form of democracy, like, you know, like the chairman and the board, right? We have that, but the problem is You gotta actually start absorbing all these weird conspiracy theories out there, because they actually start to hold water the longer time goes by. Like the 5 Jewish bankers and the Illuminati and all these weird things. You have to actually start focusing on those things now, because it's become more apparent now than ever that the presidential staff or whatever it is that you want to call it, they don't hold the power anymore, and they really don't make the decisions. So they end up tackling stupid shit like abortion and
But hold on. Let me say, there's actually a book you should read. It's called Dark Money, and the reason why I stopped you there, I watched a documentary.
It's your show.
Yeah, that too. I watched a documentary probably a year ago now called The Men Who Built America.
Because Lord knows you don't know how to read.
Nope. And it's all about Andrew Carnegie, JP Morgan,
right?
Essentially the Rockefeller, Standard Oil, Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
is it Vanderbilt?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of them too, though.
But what essentially you found in the pattern of those 5?
That 90% of all the money is controlled by like 4 people.
That's exactly what it was. You had these 5 people whose egos were so large. It was all about who could amass the massive amount of wealth, and who could do it in the quickest time. The problem is the American people were starving in the street. And they were all, I think we are going back that way. I really do. That's like, I'm a huge fan of Bill Maher, and I was listening to his show the other week, and... Way to stay in tune with that. Well, because this is a subject from the other week. Like, totally. Just
the other week.
Yeah. And I think it's very relevant.
They actually say which week it was, but it was one of the other ones.
One of the other ones. Wasn't this one.
The other day makes sense, because that's usually within the week. But the other week, come on, that's pretty vague.
You know what? I will beat you.
Wow.
Don't threaten you with a good time, right? No, and they had actually a Trump campaign. I can't remember. He wasn't the campaign manager, but he was involved with the Trump campaign. And he was saying that Trump's popularity is because people want a businessman in charge. People want the U.S. to make good deals and so on and so forth. And then there was this lady, and
I disagree.
Hold on. Let me
they
finish
don't want a minority.
Let me finish my sentence.
All the other main candidates are minorities. Go ahead. Sorry.
This lady piped up and she said, but it's been the businessman who hasn't been paying them for the last 15 years.
That's right.
And there was so much, and I almost wrecked my truck laughing because I was listening to this in the truck. And that's the thing that really gets me the most. I've always been disenfranchised, disenchanted, and just had a general bad taste in my mouth for society.
That's what she said.
But I am looking at this campaign, and I am looking at every aspect of this election, and I'm embarrassed by my countrymen that they are this stupid.
Dumbed down.
That they are buying in to a reality TV star as a viable candidate for presidency. Hello, this guy fucked up casinos.
Yeah, this
people give you money for nothing and they go bankrupt. How do you dick that up?
All of this happened before. I mean, I think the same kind of things were said when Reagan got nominated. Like, a movie star? Really? Like, what the fuck does he know?
Yeah, but at least Reagan had some tact.
That was his job.
What, tact?
Absolutely. When he got out of acting, like, he was hired as an actor at one point by, I want to say it was like General Motors or somebody like that, to tour and talk. He gave speeches and stuff like that. And that's how he ended up getting into the political arena. And throughout that time, he used his acting skills literally to gain the potency. Like he got into office by being an actor, pure and simple. I'm not saying that he was a bad president. I mean, there was a lot of bad things that happened during his time in office. For example, the war on drugs, which was probably one of the biggest travesties and biggest financial shortcomings that this country has ever seen. Overpopulation of prisons, with people that have just
mass
smoked
incarceration,
weed.
things
Exactly.
like that. See, and I do think that. See, here's the problem with the American people, fundamentally. The poor in this country do not acknowledge that they are poor. They see themselves as temporarily inconvenienced millionaires.
So they vote for the rich people, and they believe in the rich person's what is it? Verbiage or it's not the word I'm looking for.
Propaganda? Rhetoric.
Propaganda works too, but they embrace the rich man's rhetoric because they want to be rich, and they feel like if they can believe and follow the rich, and they beat up on what they call the socialistic, left wing. They call them kooks and blah blah blah. But the funny thing is, those are the people that are looking out for their interests, but they refuse to admit that they're in the demographic that needs those services. You know what I mean?
I catch it all the time because it's the way I am. When Bernie Sanders first came on the scene, I just looked at him and I'm like, you're a bit out there even for me. But the more I started listening to him and the more I actually looked into his policy, the more I kind of like the guy. Because here's another little fun fact most people don't know. Any politician running for office, you can actually look up their voting record. That is public information. You can, and if you watch C-SPAN with any regularity, you know that our elected officials do absolutely sweet FA.
2 minutes to break.
Bernie Sanders is the only one who has voted consistently for what he said he would, and he's voted for not, he has not voted for things he has said he wouldn't. He has a consistent voting record, whether you agree with him or not. I agree with him in a great many ways, and there's actually data to support what he's talking about as far as the benefits of socialized healthcare and socialized education. What he is proposing is socialized democracy. Mm-hmm. Google it. It makes sense.
Right.
So, coming up after the break.
Unfortunately, though, and let me just touch on this before you tease the break. You know, the thing that has become blatantly obvious to me, and on the Pimpycast this week, we had a couple comedians that actually do conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and not even on the conspiracy level, but they said a couple things that just made like complete sense. And I'm not going to get into the full meat of what it is that I'm about to say, but I'll just go ahead and say it, and then feel free to go out on Google and look this up. And this is something I kind of already knew myself, and that's that I can already almost tell you for sure who our next president's going to be, and it's going to be Hillary. Because they've already decided that's who our next president's going to be. Bernie, they can't control Bernie. They know for a fact if Bernie gets in office, he's going to set the world on fire. Just sort of like JFK did right before he got killed, when he pretty much said, look, there's a conspiracy going on. There is a world that's being controlled by a few people. And he said that. I don't remember, verbatim what it was, but he said that. And shortly thereafter, he was in a motorcade in Texas, and we all know what happened to him. That was
a mob hit.
It doesn't matter who got paid to do it. What matters here is why it was done. Ultimately, wouldn't you agree with that? He pushed some buttons that he probably shouldn't have.
We'll get into mob politics on another day. But anyway, coming up after the break, we're gonna get into the FBI versus Apple, which is actually taking a very interesting turn. Those of you who are pro Second Amendment, I've got a good one for you as well. I don't know. I might get hate mail after that one.
Not take my guns, bitch.
I know. We're also going to figure out how your First Amendment is slowly being taken away from you.
I don't care about that one. That's not the important amendment.
Right. I know, right? All right. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, guys. This is Disenchanted with Charis on the Pimpy K Multiverse Network.
Ground. I don't know where I am when I get back down. This world is too big for me. When there's so much to dream and little to believe. Will we last another year when each day is another time. You're not alone, so just turn away and leave today. This doubt that calls you home, and we'll give it all to make this count, and own the time till it all runs out. Runs out, runs
Georgie. Yo. Uh-oh. Who is this on the track? It's George Pencil. Mixing rock with the rap. Me and Pink for president. Got the medicine effectively ignoring doubts. Messages messing with passion and dedication. Giving doubt no invitation, cause it's already exceeded its limitations. From always hesitating cause it says I won't make it. It's got the key to my dream. I'ma punch it in the face and take it, cause we deserve more than this life. We learn from hurt and we try to invite your minds into our vibes. Reality lies and cowardly defies, and our will to survive in this system of lies. And if you don't witness our crime, then remember me. The system is killing me, it's an enemy sent to see me fail epically. This better be worth a test of me, cause I'm stressed with infection and dream. The industry can't mess with me, then PFP.
Because we deserve much more than this life. A narrow vision pulled over our eyes. Let's conquer the system. Our dreams are just fiction. We'll make it our mission to live like we're in them.
Disenchanted with Charis, Thursday nights at 8 on the Pimpy K Multiverse Network.
Monstrous, damn, here I am again, rambling, stand with a clan full of scandalous vandals, and banded together with like-minded animals, banned from the fans till we brandished our mandibles. Cannibalistic linguistics are common, be peaceful, we see you, you don't need a problem with me and my people. It's equal to none, we the start, we the end, and the end has begun. In the end, see the sun turn to black with the quickness. You missed it, it happened 12 days ago. Get this, we shifted this plane of existence in minutes. My bet is this next one decides he just sit this one out. Storm clouds are approaching horizons. Wow, so foul and they post like Verizon now. Can you hear me now? Cause I'm trying my best just to stress you the mind of the violent. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off.
It's a raw and all of the Paul was all us in the mall. I'm calling on the law and shatter they fucking jaws and splattering walls falling with blood, trailing down the block, trickling up through the hood. It's all good round my way, hey, we daily harassed. I'm about to pull you out the car, put your brains on the dash. I quit wearing the mask cause I'm past that. It's action type to cut you off in traffic, click, clack and get the flash. This madness I'm handing, it's added up and contracted into a verbal assassin who actually do what he rapping. This is tragic but I'm natural, irrational, ambassador into another plane. It's like a vial of fucking acid. You just asked me to, I'll show you, and no, you ain't coming back. Pensacola soldiers grow, yo, we colder, remember that. I stay kin to that, and in the back we easily offended. So you step in with some mouse on the outcome tremendous.
Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Shotgun, sawed off, got us for long gone. Soldier princes eating, leave a bleeding with their guns off. Semi-bionic atomic creation, completely autonomous, bombing the nation. I'm trained in the basics of language and warfare. Perfect except my control, there's a short there. Too quick to anger and too slow to calm. And I don't need a reason to beef when it's on. I don't see you seeing a problem to solve. As important to me as the way it's resolved.
Villain is degenerate, incinerate your feelings. They were prone to be belligerent, and maybe you can hear me. That's just possibly, and honestly, I'm on some other shit.
Improvised weapons of the underground, punk bitch.
Fuck getting through the door, I'm kicking it to the floor. It's written, it's no recorded. The mission is a toolkit, it's morbid and ornery. War is the sort of thing
Charis coming through. Yeah, what's up? What's good, man? Do you got a vote for me or what's up?
Yeah, you're still taking the vote?
Yep.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna go for Soldier Priest.
4-2. 4-2. Yo, shout out to people out, man.
Yeah, I want to shout out to everyone in the 850, all the juggalos, everyone over at charmhouserecords.com and Soldier Priest.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up. Thanks for tuning in. Listen, this kind of blew up here. It's 4-2 Soldier Priest. Like, they coming out rolling.
Fans are speaking.
They're swinging. It's just like Jay Hex. They have all these people lined up.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, I'm voting for my dude. Soldier Priest got that. You know, let's go for it, man. Let's just-
Sex is like snow. You never know how many inches you're going to get or how long it's going to last. You're watching Disenchanted with Charis on the Pimpy K Multiverse Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to our second segment. Like I said, we're going to get into our First and Second Amendments here tonight. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to take this. I kind of want to throw this in there first, so we'll just kind of wing the second segment here. So for those of you who are interested, FBI versus Apple, de-encryption, people prying into your personal lives, Pimpy, I know we have it there where it is, right there. So here's what's going on. For those of you who have ever followed this, the FBI went to Apple after the San Bernardino shooting. These people had iPhones, and they went to Apple and said, we want in these phones. And Apple said, you can kiss our ass, effectively. A judge actually signed the paperwork so that the DOJ could effectively force Apple to create a backdoor. Ultimately, that writ was thrown out. But here's what's happened now.
You do realize, I'm not sure if you actually know this. They already knew how to get into the phone. They were challenging the corporation. They were throwing their weight around trying to get this order written to, I guess, maybe reinforce the legality of it.
Well,
but they already knew how to get into that phone. I'm not sure if you knew that or not.
Well, here's the deal, and this is why I think this is so interesting and why I think this is so important to the general populace. Apple said, no, we're not going to do it because it compromises. When you create a backdoor for a phone and you release it to anyone, there's then the potential that people with less than good intentions can get a hold of it, right, and it can compromise the security of more people.
And somebody within the FBI or what have you will leak that information.
So here's what's happened. The FBI is now pursuing, because the precedent has been set, the FBI is now pursuing another hack of another iPhone involving a drug dealer. Now, I have a colorful past, to say the least. Back when we were... It
matches that Smurf hair.
It does. Back when we were still using flip phones? Hello. Flip phones? The local PD could still get their hands on a drug dealer.
Do the contacts after this.
So, but because this has been because this has been in the media to some extent, there's actually a politician in California who is trying to pass legislation to de-encrypt all mobile devices. So if the Android encryption, Google encryption, Apple encryption, they're essentially wanting to get rid of it and have backdoors and wormholes into all of it. So
wormholes, huh?
Wormholes, loophole, whatever you...
Is that the technical term?
I don't know. Whatever you nerds call that crap.
Wormholes.
So if you do that, everyone's information's up for grabs. How awesome is that?
It already is.
You officially will have zero privacy. One thing that my producer just pointed out to me, we have forgotten to tell you how you can contact us. So let's do that real quick while we're on the subject of zero privacy. You can always get us on Twitter at Charis Tomlin, Facebook at Disenchanted Charis. Also, feel free to send your death threats, personal requests, sleepover invitations to Charis at pimpyk.com. We also have the hotline text option. If you would like to leave me a voicemail, please feel free to do that, although keep it decent.
No, don't.
Just remember, if you send me unsolicited dick pics, I will put you on blast.
And I hope to God your face is in it, because I'll have to blur out the penile area, but your face is definitely going in.
Excuse me, I will retweet that and ask whose husband this belongs to.
Nice.
I am a bitch.
Yeah,
trust me.
Bitch.
Yes.
You're the reason I don't cheat.
Why? Because I would be vindictive?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just a little dick, you know what I'm saying? I just fucked myself up with that one, did
Way to go, way to go.
I'm gonna let you continue.
You're always putting your foot in. It's kind of like last week. What you want for your birthday? Dick pic or a Tinder account? I can make both happen.
I'll take them both.
All right.
Hi.
God, we try so hard to keep it classy around the network.
No, we don't.
Getting back to our topics for this evening, First Amendment up number 1. 400 protesters were arrested in Washington D.C. They were actually protesting corruption within the political system. And when it comes to elections, corporations can donate to candidates. Now, the problem is that when corporations donate to candidates, there are ways that they can do it to where they can effectively donate millions of dollars to a certain candidate. That is called buying politics. Mm-hmm. And this organization called Democracy Spring is trying to protest this. People marched from Pennsylvania to D.C. to do this, and 400 people so far have been arrested. Now, this is what they're being charged with.
Ripping off the Arab Spring?
Close. Crowding and essentially blocking doors.
Right. We're going through the same thing that happened in the 60s and the 70s, where the college campuses were protesting the war in a very peaceful manner, and the state basically took it as a direct threat. And it scares them even more when they're being peaceful, because they realize that the people that are organizing and being involved are more level-minded, which means they're probably a little bit more intelligent than those that go and riot and so forth, right?
The problem is that because these people have a point. I do not deny, although I'm all about voting, and getting involved politically, I do think to some level that the game is rigged. I do think that our rights are being stripped away slowly by surely. And that's one of the reasons why when I hear these people, and once again, I'm going to go for, when I hear people say I'm voting for Hillary Clinton, here's my biggest problem with her. The Benghazi thing, not 100% sold. I'd like to see more evidence. But here's what I do have evidence of. She has spent 20 years essentially trying to abolish our First Amendment right. And she's gone after rap artists, TV shows, and by and large, she has failed. But the problem I have with that, you cannot successfully censor children, because that's her whole platform. We have to do away with this to protect the children. Mm-hmm. You cannot censor children without censoring consenting adults.
I think the point is that she's trying to censor content to protect children.
Yep, but
that's her point. Right?
Okay, yeah, but again,
not trying to censor the children themselves. They're children; they should be seen and not heard anyway.
But the problem,
just like women,
which is exactly why I'm on the network running my trap. Correct?
My bad.
Okay, so
it wasn't as cute as I thought it would be.
No, because I just shut you down. But here's my problem with that. Personally, I love rap music. Any day of the week, you can get in my truck, and it's DOC, Snoop Dogg, NWA. I also have a 7-year-old son. Does my 7-year-old son enjoy the vocal stylings of DOC? No, because he is not old enough. It is inappropriate. As far as the
It's a parental decision.
Exactly. As far as the censorship of children, that is at the discretion of the parents. And quite frankly, I was 8, 9 years old when I first got into Eminem. I got into Eminem.
God, you're a baby.
I know, right? Eminem was hot back then too, man. He was like New Kid on the Block. It was a beautiful thing. I went from Marky. I tell you what. One of the greatest music videos of
You're
all
hanging tough.
One of the greatest music videos of all time.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Good vibrations. And I'm going to assume you know why I think that's one of the greatest videos of all time. Because Marky Mark is half naked throughout the entire thing. It is a beautiful. And he's lifting.
Because you're a blazing nympho.
And he's lifting weights in that video. Two things I love: guys with a 6-pack and heavy iron.
The only thing that was missing was a Latino. But back then, he doesn't like minorities. He's a racist fuck.
He's from Boston.
Yep. Being Irish doesn't make it okay to be a bigot. Just putting that out there.
I tell you what, they open up a Wahlburgers anywhere near here, my fat ass is making a trip. That's just the way that is. Cheat meal day rolls around, Wahlburgers, here I come.
I heard they were opening one here.
Not anywhere near here. They're opening one in South Florida. Now, the only way I would drive to South Florida for a Wahlburger is if Mark Wahlberg came in the bag.
Whatever. You know how many Hispanic males live in South Florida? That's you all day. You can drive down there and get laid and get a burger.
That's
your shit, Charis.
About that life. All right, so now we have covered our. See, and here's the. God, we run off on rabbit trails around here. Have you ever noticed that? We're the poster children for Adderall. That's next time Pfizer.
I'm on Adderall.
Next time Pfizer needs to shoot a commercial for ADD drugs, just drop by the studio. Going back to these protesters.
No.
Here's the problem with this. They were not causing riots. They were not causing a problem. They were arrested. Oh, but this is not something... I was able to find one source on this, and it was actually the Huffington Post, which is historically... Do that one more time, I swear to God.
I'm trying to do it off the mic. I'm sorry. I'm trying to... Fuck, it's a burp. Shit, I drink. I'm an alkie. You're not supposed to beat us up about it. I mean, that's like the last thing you're supposed to do during an intervention, right? Jesus. You don't cast blame.
And it was Huffington Post, who's historically leftist anyway, that covered this story about these protesters being arrested. The problem is, when you take away your First Amendment, when you take away the people's voice, and you take away the people's right to express themselves in a peaceful and meaningful way, all the other rights disappear as well. Because, getting into our next little topic of conversation, the Second Amendment. Who speaks for those who want gun ownership, who want to be able to open carry or conceal carry?
The NRA.
Exactly. Without the First Amendment right, the NRA has no voice. The NRA cannot push legislation.
Bullshit. They've got heavy-handed... heavy-pocketed lobbyists.
Well, we know the NRA has bought the government. We know that. That's not a
portion of it for sure.
Oh, no shit. But I bring this up because, and I can't find a I'm not exactly Johnny Cochran here, but the families of the victims of the Sandy Hook shooting have filed a lawsuit. They're actually suing Remington Arms Company over the weaponry that was used. Do I think that those families, what they went through is horrible? I mean, children were killed
shit happens.
There's
crazy people, and they're not always sheltered.
I can't imagine what they're going through. However, they're suing Remington Arms because what they're claiming is that Adam Lange, he used a what do they call it? Bushmaster AR-15? Okay. Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for those of you who know guns, please feel free to correct me because I know dick about guns, other than the fact they hold bullets.
Oh, we've got a lot of stuff up here on the chat, so...
hang on, you're cutting me off.
No, I'm not cutting you off. I'm only bringing this up so that way if somebody does decide... Damn, somebody said you're creepy. What do we got here? I want
Who
to
said
take
I
a
was
look.
creepy?
I have no. I can't read it. I think I got the chat too small. I'll have that corrected by next week. But
Yeah, seriously.
Get back into it. Before we end the show, though, I want to go through these because there was only one there a few minutes ago, and somebody just called you creepy. And
like who called me creepy? That's kind of fun.
I don't have your YouTube name yet, ma'am or sir, but I will be covering that in just a few minutes because I quite frankly agree with you.
Whatever.
Continue.
So anyway, they're suing this gun manufacturer, saying that the company knew, and as well as the seller knew, that this gun was too much kill power for a civilian. Because it is in fact a military grade weapon.
Right. It's designed not for hunting, not for.
It's designed to kill. That's its sole purpose.
Right. So personal protection, that kind of falls into that. Right, because if you're trying to save yourself, then you want to kill the motherfucker that's trying to kill you.
Well,
or take your shit because you're allowed to kill people for that too.
Quite frankly, I'm not 100% sold on the fact that people need military-grade assault weapons to defend their house. But whatever, I take a very libertarian perspective on gun ownership.
No, as do I, and I would agree that I would agree with this that the way that the Constitution, or let's just say when the Constitution was written. We had muskets.
Exactly. We had muzzle loaders.
Exactly. We didn't have fully and semi-automatic weapons. But you're treading pretty hardcore though when you even try to touch a subject like that. I'm not gonna say I'm a gun lover, but I do own some guns and I do enjoy shooting every now and then. It's not like my favorite pastime. I've got too much going on in my life to just take off for a weekend and go shooting or whatever. However, people that are gun enthusiasts, they become the enthusiasts of that recreation because there's a lot of sports around shooting. I mean, you would be shutting down a lot of things, not even just the industrial side of it. And I understand why they grasp onto that amendment and why they don't want to give it up because
here's the problem.
I don't know what the statistics on this, but I'm willing to bet you that probably 98% of all legal gun owners will never commit a crime with those guns.
I would agree with that. Here's my problem with, and I'm not going to say my problem with the Second Amendment. My problem with people who say, that's my Second Amendment right. Okay, that's cool. But here's the deal. When this Second Amendment was written, if you look at that amendment in context, you're talking about a period of time where the government and the people were on equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
That is no longer the case.
When the people were bigger than the government still.
Right. Now, I don't care what kind of arsenal you've got. The government outguns you. Mm-hmm. We can kill people from 500 miles away with a push of a button. You really think they're going to be scared by your Smith & Wesson?
Nope, and that's the point.
And that's the thing that's why I don't always agree with the Second Amendment argument. The problem I have is that anybody can get a gun.
Do you think they're ever going to really outlaw guns? No, they're not.
No, they're not. They can't. At this point, they can't.
There's one specific reason why they won't, and that's because now, since there's an understanding that these guns are out there, it gives them a reason to militarize the police. So now they have a whole nother faction of militarized yes sirs, you know what I'm saying, that will do their bidding. So now, in order for us to do what the Constitution designed us to do and to be able to take over the government if they start fucking us over, we can't do that anymore because even our local law enforcement, our local deputy sheriffs, they have ARs in their trunks. I mean, so it's not, it goes on both sides is all I'm saying. And I'm a very liberal person, but when it comes to guns, like, you can't take guns from people. You can't tell them what they can or cannot own. You tell them what they can or cannot do with them. I completely understand that, but you can't. I mean, come on, it's not fair. You got to give us a fighting chance to survive in a chaotic world, and I think guns give us that. Now, granted, they do also create chaotic situations, but those numbers are way smaller if you want to take it in comparison or look up the analytic matrix of gun owners versus criminals. I mean, let's be honest.
Right. The thing that I find interesting is the amount of people that kill themselves accidentally. That, I think, at that point, it's like, and that is actually...
Case, let's ban prescription narcotics, right?
That right there, don't even get me started on prescription narcotics, because I can do an hour-long special on narcotics.
It's the same fucking thing.
But I call that, because this is the whole, well, people shoot them, toddlers shoot their parents, okay. Here's my thoughts on that. That is an argument that I have heard used by the left. Guess what? That is called social Darwinism. Mm-hmm. If you are stupid enough to own guns
and leave a loaded one for a child
and leave one open for a toddler to get his hands on, you deserve one to the brain. I'm sorry. That's just my thoughts.
Or to the knee or gut. Something that you live, but you have to suffer for the rest of your life for that stupid mistake you made.
That's, and that's the thing. Me personally, I don't own guns. I don't care to own one. It's just not my flavor. But if it's yours, by all means, whatever makes you hard. I'm all right with it.
Is that what we're talking about now?
What?
What makes me hard?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Continue. Oops.
I know what makes you hard. We had that conversation before the show started. Hey-o!
No, well, that didn't happen. My wife watches this show. You're going to make shit up. Do it proper, because fuck. Shit like that will get me in the Dizog house.
You'll be showing up on my doorstep going, hey, guess what?
I'll be outside with the cat.
You mean the cat that's currently destroying the curtains?
And no, trust me, if I went through that because some stupid shit you said, no, your house would be the last place I fucking went. Unless I had a loaded AR. just putting that out there.
Really? Is that what you think of me? Damn. I would totally let you crash on my couch.
Oh, you fucking kill me. You're making a bad thing way worse every time you open your mouth. Just want you to know that. I got about 3 minutes. We got to wrap this up.
I tickle you pink, and you know that. See, there you go. See, he can dish it out, but he can't take it back.
Did you say with your pink? Sorry.
You're going to hell, Kenny.
You can't let me talk.
Oh, did you want to bring that live chat up so we can figure out who called me creepy?
Yeah, and I got to do some arrangements because I can't really see it either, so they probably can out there. We definitely need to zoom in, try to make some of this bigger. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move your logo over here with the live chat bullshit because it's not trumping on any of that. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. All right, let me move in here and see what I can get. See what I can see. All right, so, oops. I guess I need to take the mic with me, don't I? It looks like Blake said IP Scrambler, fuck the world. Or for the win. I never know which one people are talking about on the internet anymore.
Probably for the win.
There's a Diona Elaine.
Yes, that is my girl D. That is my
Feel the burn. And then she said no. And see, here's the thing. They're typing these as you're talking. And then she said creepy. So now I'm starting to think maybe she didn't call you creepy. She was just saying creepy. And she's still typing as I'm talking. So get another glass of wine. I'm ready. See, she's referring to things that we're talking about. That's why I think what we're going to do on the show from now on, because I think the chat's going to be a prime.
Who do we have in there besides Blake and Deanna?
No, Deanna's just going off. Like, Blake said two things, and now Deanna's just taking over the chat.
Deanna,
dick jokes. She loves the dick jokes. Ha 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 ha. She says, and then give me Marky Mark any day. So we're catching up in the timeline of things.
Hey, and it should be noted. it should be noted. And this is where I'm going to get death threats. Deanna's significant other actually does have kind of a Marky Mark thing going on.
Yeah.
He's actually a good-looking dude. I hate to say that,
but he's fuck her brother. Is that what you're trying to say on national television?
No, it's not her brother. It's her significant other.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay, so
and I call him.
Have you seen the tactical hunting guns in sports stores? The guns in there are ridiculous, I guess is what she's trying to say. She misspelled ridiculous, but I'm okay with that. In Chicago, the mayor has almost deputized citizens up to have concealed weapon license because it's that city is a no gun city, right?
Right.
And then the crime rate has gone down, but it's still really high. So that's where we're at there. And next week, I'll make sure we're zoomed in on this so we can see it a little better. Wow, that's really small.
By the way, Matt...
And the color scheme needs to be corrected as well.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, I love you. I meant no disrespect. I know, because I only called him out just
because...
Deanna,
she wants to fuck your old man.
Please don't, because poor old Matt...
No, you threw me under the bus with my wife. I'm throwing you under the bus with his. Fuck it.
I tell you what, he's a good sport. He lets me beat him up, and he doesn't give me too much hell. So, all right, we're gonna about call it a night around here at the PMBN. We'll get you back here next week at the same time, same channel. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. We'll have some more great information for you. If you also have anything you take an interest in that you want me to talk about, email that to me at charis@pimpyk.com. We'll see you next week, folks.
Disenchanted with Charis, Thursday nights at 8 on the Pimpy K Multiverse Network.